Good evening, everybody, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is episode 53 of Firetalk Radio. Tonight, we're going to go back in time and look about the old Pepsi Point lawsuit, and now that Netflix is doing a documentary on it. SpaceX is offline for Ukraine. Twitter has fact checkers. The left wants amnesty, and we're going to look at our upcoming midterm elections. This and more on Fire Talk Radio. This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out at firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live. And subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting and streaming platform.
I can only count to four. I can only count to four. I can only count to four. I can only count to...
Hey, we're back on a Friday.
Right? And things just worked out well that way.
Yeah, and we're going to be taking some Fridays soon because hunting season and Thanksgiving and wrestling and, just stuff this time of year is
We'll get everyone that's listening. Everyone that's listening, we appreciate you. Those that are checking us out on Pandora, God love you. You guys are bringing the listens. So this is episode 53 of Fire Talk Radio. As my little announcement played. So please check us out on all your streaming platforms. Like, subscribe. Find out when we go live on YouTube and Rumble. Man, it was a short week from the last time we did one to this one, but fuck, a whole lot of shit happened.
Oh, man. And we're well, there's a lot going on. The Democrats are pulling out everything they possibly can. They are talking about amnesty. They are trying to make this a referendum on abortion, on Pelosi's
I want to talk about
husband. They are doing everything, and they are going down in the polls. Like as Joe Rogan put it, it's not the red wave is going to look like the doors opening in The Shining and the blood just pours through.
Speaking of amnesty, so they want people would like a pandemic amnesty because they didn't know and they were scared, I guess. I've always said this. I don't give a shit about anybody. I hate everybody equally. I hate everybody just a little bit less if I actually talk to you. But my wife actually saw my true assholeness come out when people would get on me about not wearing a mask because they give a shit.
And everything showed that the mask did absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Scientifically, it has been proven masks didn't do anything, and the vaccine didn't stop you from getting the goddamn COVID.
Right.
Didn't lessen symptoms or anything. It just was there. I understand, some people were like, yeah. And I understand you were terrified and people, and it's mob mentality. Mob mentality can be very dangerous. But if you want amnesty from that, I can show you my field of fucks, and it is barren.
No, they don't get amnesty for not just not being afraid. Like you have, okay, so this comes from The Atlantic.
Yeah.
And it starts off, the very first paragraph starts off, in April 2020, with nothing else to do, my family took an enormous number of hikes. We all wore cloth masks that I had made myself. We had a family fucking hand signal. We had a family hand signal, which each person in front would use if somebody was approaching on the trail and we needed to put on our masks. Once, when another child got too close to my 4-year-old son on a bridge, he yelled at her, "Social distancing!" These precautions were totally misguided. In April 2020, no one got the coronavirus from passing someone else hiking. Outdoor transmission was vanishingly rare. Our cloth masks made out of old bandanas wouldn't have done a thing anyway. But the thing is, we didn't know.
We did.
No, you don't get a pass. We knew. Because all you had to do was use common sense.
What
you did is you offloaded your common sense to so-called experts that were trying to run your life, and rather than actually thinking for yourself, you get no amnesty. You get no sympathy from me.
I really didn't have people like come and yell at me because I didn't wear a mask all that often, because I presented myself in a way of, I'm not in the fucking mood for your dumb shit. Don't start with me.
I did.
I remember
my son actually, we were at I remember we were at a gas station. In this gas station, clerk didn't wear a mask. Me and my son didn't wear a mask. The 3 people behind us didn't wear a mask, but there was some fucking douchebag checking out that had on 1, possibly 2 masks. He was hitting the hand sanitizer like, he was going to try drinking it, licking it off his hands. And my son walked up to grab a like candy bar or something he asked if he could have off of the counter. And the guy literally turned around, yelled at my son to get back and stay 6 feet away. I tore into that guy like it was nobody's business. I told him to get the fuck out of here. You don't belong in here. Nobody wants you in here.
That guy would have been part of the wall if I was there.
If he would have touched my son, I would have been livid and touched him.
Oh yeah. What was that, Sam's? It was a Friday before our lovely governor here in PA put in the 100% mask order if you were going to be in public. And it was the day before it, and I was in Sam's Club. I was picking up dog food. I'm not wearing a mask. Didn't care. You have to understand one thing. 95% of my family is all in the medical field. 2 of them are respiratory therapists. And they said, yes, the tension is there. But it's unknown. So wearing a mask wouldn't be necessary. You want to be able to breathe. Wearing a mask kind of prevents you to breathe.
Even Fauci said that the mask wasn't going to do anything until he flip-flopped.
Yeah.
And said, we need to wear masks. We're 3 masks. We're 5 masks.
I had a lady walk up to me and she goes, I don't know how they let you in Sam's Club without a mask on. I said, I walked right the fuck in and came over here to grab my shit and I was leaving. And she started laying into me. And her husband started coming up to me and I said, look, either you take your wife and walk, or I'm going to make her cry in the middle of this store. He looked at me and goes, what are you going to do? Put your hands on her? I said, no. I'm very strong-willed with my mouth, and I will say things, and I will make this cunt cry. And her eyes just got big, and he goes, you are so deplorable, and then fucking walked off. I said, yeah, and fuck you too. I grabbed my shit and I left. It was great.
Yep.
Ooh, this didn't age well. I love these.
Yeah. So Speaking of stuff, so this is all the stuff that they want amnesty from. Mind you, this is not everything. This is what they want amnesty from.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us.
People who are incubators for every variant to come, walking around lawfully unvaccinated? That's psychotic.
For the vaccinated, you're looking at of severe illness and death.
Nope.
For yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may overwhelm.
About this, in a world of threats and tyrants and terror, you know what our biggest enemy is in America? Our fellow Americans.
They are the ones that are propagating this outbreak.
Being frustrated that there is still a percentage of the population who are not vaccinated.
I wish that he would go further to restrict the activities of the unvaccinated.
Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
25% can cause a lot of damage, and they are.
If you're willing to walk among us unvaccinated, you are an enemy.
Well, you know, it's my rights. Okay. But I don't care.
The pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Well, look, the pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated. And they're killing people.
Freedom not to follow the facts, even if your freedom kills people? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of freedom do they really want?
We have a pandemic because of the unvaccinated, and they're showing enormous confusion. The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, are overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units, leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or pancreatitis or cancer.
Pause that for a second. So when they were saying that, I 100% believe that's not the reason, because at that same time is when we were going on a really large nursing shortage. They may have had, they only said that there weren't enough people because they didn't have the fucking bodies to take care of people.
Right. Just like you, I have family that works in the hospital field. My wife, my sister-in-law, my aunt, my cousins. I have a cousin that's a doctor. All of them are either nurses, x-ray techs, doctors, one cardiologist that lost her job because she refused to tell people they need to get vaxxed. None of that had to do with the fact that they didn't have beds. They had the beds. They had the rooms. What they didn't have was the staff, because nurses were quitting. And a hospital runs on the nurses.
They were going on travel nursing because they were getting paid a lot more.
Paid a lot better. And the conditions at the hospitals from the administrators is abhorrent. And the thing is it takes roughly one nurse. At the most, it should be 5 to 8 patients. Instead, they were short nurses. Nurses were doing 20 patients, sometimes more. So they weren't filling beds. One hospital near me said that they were at over 100% capacity, but they were only using a third of the beds. So no, it is a lie when they say that the hospitals do not have the room. They have the room. They have the beds. They have the facilities. They did not have the people because they were treating their staff like shit.
Shouldn't they have to pay more into the system because they are collapsing our health system? They're the ones in the ERs.
Require vaccination universally. Have the military run it. If you don't want to get vaccinated, you better be ready to prove your conscientious objector status in court.
Almost like it's going to be two Americas.
It is two Americas.
We've been patient.
It is two Americas. And you know what? All of that they're talking about is going to come back next week. All of them. So, that Atlantic article goes on to talk about the vaccines and how they were told that the vaccines were needed because they had nothing else to fight this. They were making fun of Trump, making the false claim that Trump told them to inject themselves with bleach. He didn't. They, all of that misinformation came from the government, came from these so-called experts. Everything. It was awful. I think Ryan's frozen. Either that or he hasn't blinked in like a minute and a half, and he has to have the driest eyes.
Yes.
So, no, you get no amnesty. There is no amnesty for your stupidity because you tried to use your stupidity to run my life, my family's life, my child's life. You get no amnesty. You get no sympathy. You get no empathy. I don't even empathize with idiots that tried to use the pandemic means to control other people.
Nope, not at all.
None.
They have all the talks in the world about wanting amnesty, and I understand why they're asking for it. The problem is that they let the fear rule their lives, and all they did was piss everybody off to the point to where we don't give a shit anymore. If that's how you wanted to think about it, don't. Because we don't want to hear it. Because the thing
credibility.
It's one big I told you so. We get to say it because we stuck with our guns. And now it's
we didn't fold. And you know what? The CDC and all of these lettered agencies, they've lost all credibility. There is nothing they can say right now that would make me go, oh, the CDC said it, so I should probably do what they say. No, they have no credibility left. I'm sorry, my doctor has lost credibility.
I got into an argument with one of the RNs at my my practitioner's office, and because I was trying to get a waiver, and I said, well, because one, I'm allergic to the flu shots, and they're like, well, we can't give you a waiver for the. I said, you are going against your Hippocratic oath. They said, this is safe and effective. And I said, how do you know that? Like Lewis Black said, it like with sunscreen, you don't know what's in it. It could have zebra cum in it for all we know. You're going to go back for more than one shot. Why? Because some nitwit that makes $400K a year that was, now we all know, was talking with the Wuhan facility.
And he knew right from the get-go that
he knew before the get-go.
Right, but he knew right from the get-go with the vaccine that it did not prevent or stop the catching or transmitting the virus.
So
But he lied to you.
Fauci has his day in court because midterms are here. If the red wave truly happens, it will be an onslaught of. And you think the January 6th committee was wrong? It was wrong for the country trying to pursue Donald Trump.
Court.
You haven't seen shit yet because Rand Paul is going to run that committee. He is going to run over Fauci, and he has nothing he can do.
That's why Fauci's quitting. Because if he doesn't work for the government when they take over, then they have to subpoena him. And it's a lot harder to bring him in than it is when he works for the government and they just have to call him.
Oh, I know. I mean,
same thing with his documents.
He'll be there.
So, and you know what? I hope they do to him if he decides not to follow the subpoena that they did with what's his name, owner of Breitbart, Trump's advisor that they actually sentenced to jail like 90 days.
What's his name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, it's all fair. If they're going to send dude from Trump's camp to jail for not answering the subpoena, fine. Fauci can go sit in Guantanamo Bay then.
Right.
I know Guantanamo Bay is not the greatest facility, but if you really think about it, he was in charge of the vaccine going through, was it Operation Warp Speed, and he oversaw all that. So he knew from a get-go what Pfizer was cutting corners, what Moderna corners were being cut, even J&J, and they only had their shot got recalled in the end. Yeah. But there's going to be no amnesty. They can ask for it all they want. They can plead and beg, and unfortunately, it's going to be a hard fucking pass.
If my neighbor came to me and asked for amnesty, which my neighbor actually agrees with me, but what I'm saying is metaphorically, my neighbor came to me or a person that I'm friends with and says, hey, forgive me for everything. No, I do not forgive you. I will not forget what you did, what you said, what you've done.
So
you earned that. You earned that scarlet letter. And I hope you live with it for the rest of your life.
I know. Well, speaking of scarlet letters, did you see how Twitter fucking brought their fact checkers in against Mr. Joe Biden in the White House themselves?
That was so great. Biden says stupid shit all the time.
Well, no, that wasn't Biden who said it about the Social Security. That was the White House. They're like, oh, yeah, based on the Biden administration, we were able to raise Social Security payments. No, motherfucker. That bill was signed in 1972 under Richard Nixon. If inflation goes up, Social Security payments get an automatic increase of cost of living adjustment.
Right.
And they had to take the tweet down. And then KGP comes out and says it wasn't a full understanding of the tweet. Bull fucking shit.
Well,
please tell me you have
I don't know if we have a clip of it, but did you hear Biden talking about how he spoke with the guy that invented insulin? And how he waited, he didn't patent it because he wanted it for everyone.
Biden was not even fucking born yet.
The guy died a year before Biden was born. Biden is so full of shit, he can't even keep his lies straight.
Fucking the guy that invented insulin didn't get a patent. Yes, in the history books, that is absolutely 100% correct. The guy who created insulin did not want it patented, so Big Pharma could not make money off it. Yes, it was supposed to be for everyone. Unfortunately, that's not how it's fucking working. If you didn't axe the executive order right in the beginning that Trump was putting in to regulate Big Pharma about he was going after the underroot cause why insulin is as high as it is. Because there was no fucking patent on it.
Right. So anybody could manufacture it and sell it for what they wanted. And a lot of insurances make deals
they were like,
with.
And they were trying to make it $35, not after insurance for your copay. No, it was flat pay, $35. Yep. Where Biden, and that only affects people that are 65 and older and that are on Medicare. Tell me how that fucking makes sense.
Right. Right. See, the thing is with Biden, everything with this administration that they try to do only affects people on Medicare. And they trumpet that like it's some big thing. Rather than helping as many people as possible, they narrow focus it. And, you know.
Well, Biden's got to please his people.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Starts fact-checking Biden. Biden says gas is $3.39, down from $5 when he took office. No Joe, gas was $2.38. Biden says 55 companies made $40 billion and paid no taxes, which will be ended by his Inflation Reduction Act. No Joe, this only applies to 14 companies. Biden says seniors are getting biggest Social Security checks increase because of him. No Joe, the increase is due to inflation and was signed by Nixon in 1972.
These are facts.
Yes, Joe, they're facts. And the truth matters.
You know, they do that with inflation too, by the way. They try to trump it. Well, he reduced inflation more than anyone.
No, he reduced the deficit.
No.
He chimes in on the deficit.
No, but they talk about inflation and you go, yeah, because inflation was the highest it's ever been last month and it dropped this month like 0.5%. But it's still higher than it was a year ago or any other time in history, except for last month.
I said, what? When it was under Trump, before he left, inflation was like, what, 2%?
Yeah.
And then Biden hits it, and now it's a whopping 9.1 now.
Yeah, something like that.
I
mean, this is the spin. I mean, yeah, they have to have like Hollywood writers in the White House press corps in order to spin these numbers and this everything that's going on under his watch, everything that he's done. They have to blame and then blame it on Trump, and then blame.
It's easier to blame it on your. It's easier to blame it on your predecessor than it is to actually be like, yeah, we fucked up.
Yeah. And then, the deficit. Yeah, the deficit during COVID was the highest it's ever been because we were fighting the pandemic under Trump. And last year it rose, and this year he dropped it a little. So basically, remember, that's like saying, well, I'd like to tell you that we only spent $10,000 instead of $15,000, even though we only make $2,000 a month. But last month we spent $15,000. This month we're only spending $10,000, so I saved us $5,000. No, you're still $8,000 more than you make. And that's what the quote unquote deficit reduction that he claims is done. And he hasn't even reduced the deficit. All he did is push it down the line. That's all he's done. So rather than being spent this year, it's being spent over the course of the next 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. When everyone knows he's not going to be in office in the next election. Either he's going to get primary,
the Republicans
take
the House and Senate, he's going to be a lame duck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing that everyone keeps forgetting, that he's going to be a lame duck president in less than 6 months. He may be a
What
fired
I'm really
one.
afraid of, though, right now, is when the red wave comes and we have a lame duck Congress. What are they going to try pushing through, knowing that they've got nothing to lose?
Who fucking knows? I mean, they're sitting on this high horse of they're going to codify Roe. My thing is, they've had 50 years. They actually have the House and Senate now to do so. You don't see them attempting to do that now. Hell, I don't even think they're even in DC right now because it's all midterms. So
yeah, nobody's doing any work.
So yeah, fuck them.
So speaking of midterms, though, the election is coming up.
Oh yeah, please vote. Go vote Tuesday.
Go vote.
Don't mail
Tuesday,
in. Fucking find your polling. Go there in person. Because what the state of Pennsylvania, Supreme Court in Pennsylvania actually reviewed the case from 2020, and they've stated they are no longer taking mail-in ballots that have no date on them. That was the big thing on a lot of the mail-in ballots during the 2020 election. There was no dates in the state of PA. That was the big hoopla. So the Supreme Court came out on the 1st of November saying those ballots will be now invalid if you send them in with no date or errors.
I'm wondering with Michigan, what is the change with the fact that I didn't receive yet a absentee application in the mail. So in 2020, everybody in Michigan received an absentee application. Everybody. This year, didn't receive anything.
Maybe you got to get your ass up and go to the polling station.
Yeah, either you got to get up and go to the polling station, or you had to legitimately sign up for an absentee. Now, Michigan did what I didn't agree with, which is absentee for no reason. To me, if you're going to vote absentee, you have to have a reason. I'm going to be out of town. I'm working. I have heart surgery, something. But Michigan basically said, you know what? If you want to vote absentee, vote absentee. Whatever, do it. We have, if you're listening in Michigan, we have 3 proposals, constitutional proposals. None of the wording that they show for the ballot that's going to be on the ballot actually describes everything about these proposals. My suggestion, vote no on all of them. One deals with voting rights. They want to expand it. They want to make it like voting month. They want to basically do what Oregon did, where they send out the ballot to you. You fill it out and you drop it off or send it in. They want the other one has to do with abortion, but it's not just abortion, because Michigan Constitution already has on basically an abortion ban that was there, from the 1930s or 40s. It's so funny. Everyone says that ban was out of date. That's their big argument, considering that right around that same time was another law that passed giving the governor of Michigan executive order privileges during a crisis, but it was meant for a wartime crisis or a state of emergency. But yet all the Democrats and people supporting her say that wasn't out of date. So it's so vote no on all that. And the one with abortion doesn't even just deal with abortion. It deals with transgender, where children can get transgender therapy and surgeries without parental permission. They don't have to, schools don't have to notify parents of mental illness with their kids, all of that stuff. It deals with more than just that. But the ballot, the only thing they're going to put on there is abortion. That abortion should be legalized in Michigan. Vote no. And you know what? Let our Congress, our state legislature do their job and argue it.
I'm for that. And all, but
that's why we vote for our representatives.
Remember, we are a constitutional republic. Constitutional So voting matters. And all, yes, we have an electoral college. Still, voting matters. It's the only way to vote for the people that you believe are going to look at the issues in your state and have them applied.
Yep.
They're your representatives for the Washington D.C. And I know in Pennsylvania, I can never see Fetterman going to the Senate because he has to have a special machine. That the thing is, I don't see how. I understand the ADA laws, I do, but with all the crap that gets said in there, it's not going to just pick up Fetterman's. So Fetterman's going to have to sit there and have that running the whole time and reading while everybody's speeching. And I'm sorry, no one wants to fucking watch Chuck Schumer talk the whole time. But I'm sorry, when he goes, you know what's better than Eagles? Eagles. How the fucking
I missed that one. He actually said what's better than Eagles are Eagles?
Yes, because Pennsylvania is one of the few states that has 2 football teams. And it's it fucking doesn't make sense. Swear to God.
I never said the Eagles. I support the Eagles. I love the Eagles. I love the Eagles.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles. Don't know what I'm saying about the Eagle. So for those again in Michigan, looking at our governor, latest poll, Gretchen Whitmer, the incumbent governor, is at 44.6%.
I was just say, isn't like
Tudor
Michigan almost a
Dixon,
damn near tie?
Yeah, Tudor Dixon is at 44.8.
That's a fucking tie.
It's a toss-up. We need votes. All right. Dixon was not my first choice or second or third in the primaries. But you know what? She's my choice for this. Because anything else is a vote for Whitmer. That's the thing. So that's the thing when it comes to the way that our elections are set up. And I do believe this needs to change, but the way that our elections are set up when it comes to the general election, it is a primary or choice or binary choice. It is a binary choice. You either vote for your person or anything else is a vote for the other person.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, Dixon was not my first choice, but she's my choice now. Trump was not my first choice in 2016. In fact, he wasn't even on my radar in the primaries in 2016. He was like the last person in the group. But you know what? When it came to the general election, he was my choice.
I thought I liked him when he did the debates with and especially Jed Bush.
Oh, his debate against Hillary Clinton was great.
Oh no,
His
I was talking about when he
Jeb
was
Bush,
going against all the other
good.
Republicans. I was looking at when he did
yeah,
all the
that
other
was good.
Republicans. He owned all his bullshit. He was like, "Yeah, I did that, but your brother fucking did this. You did this," and he did. Everyone else was like,
That's the difference between him and a lot of politicians is they run from the bad things that they've said or done and try to minimize and pretend it didn't happen. he flat out says, "Yeah, I did that, and you know what? I'll do it again."
And
so so there's a lot of stuff when it comes. I think I'm hearing stuff. Is that coming?
I don't know.
Where's
What are you
that?
hearing?
It sounds like an ad playing, so it's got to be on one of my
Good job.
one of the pages that I have up.
Good job, man. All right, yeah. So what you can take from the midterms is the fact that I would like to tell you to vote for Republican, but I'm going to tell you to vote for what you want to see happen to your state. It simply is because if you look at the U.S. as a whole, and you look at what our current president is doing to our country as a whole, think about how that's going to turn into the individual states, because usually they're going to follow suit, and that is what nobody wants. Hell, what they want to open Pennsylvania back up. Pennsylvania has oil, has coal, has so much natural gas that could fucking flood the eastern seaboard.
Yep.
And we're gonna fucking need it, cause why? They fucking shut the pipeline off in fucking Michigan that does natural gas for heat.
Yeah, line 5. Oh God, Whitmer, shut that down. So now all of that natural gas that comes from Canada into Detroit, it basically goes through all of Michigan with stops off all throughout Michigan down to Detroit. She is killing us with natural gas prices because of shutting down line 5. Now,
so
does it need to be updated? Do we need another line? Hell yes. Should we shut it down first? Fuck no.
Right now, like, I pulled up the polls right now. Fucking PA's dead even with their Senate race with Oz and Fetterman. I can tell you right now, there's one group that's not even shown on this poll, and it's the Amish. And I have never seen the fucking Amish. I live in between Amish communities, and I have seen them fucking fly Trump flags, Oz flags,
Are you by like the
Manstranos
Amish Mafia
flags.
area?
No, I'm a little bit north. So Amish are like, I think, labeled by the color of their clothes. I live near the Black Pants. That area down there is brown pants.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
I didn't fucking know the difference myself. And
Here in Michigan, everywhere we look, the Amish all wear black pants and a white shirt and a hat.
yeah.
But so
no, like the brown pant ones, they are fucking like they're like hardcore. They don't even put like lights on their fucking buggies. And it's like, oh boy. But they're going Republican. I mean, there's a lot of farmers out here. They're voting Republican. Hell, what was it? Hey, do you have that one from The View I sent you?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Yeah. Let me find it.
Where she said that suburban women are going to vote Republican. It's like
Yeah, they're
going
cockroaches.
to fuck that bitch.
You know what? Maybe that was one I couldn't download. So let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I think that was one I couldn't download. Give me a second.
But the The one thing that has never changed when it comes to election season, yes, it is definitely the bad mouthing. Arizona, they won't even have a debate. Their governors won't even debate. The incumbent one, won't debate Carrie Lake because she doesn't need to. And the problem is that if you don't debate, you can't challenge the things that are being said. So, and that's the most democratic thing we have in our repertoire when it comes to politicians is the debate, is the questions of the people. How would you handle those?
Right.
And I'm still waiting. I'm bummed that I didn't get to see a Josh Shapiro and a Doug Manstrano debate. Here's the cunt.
White Republican suburban women are now going to vote Republican. Why? It's almost like roaches voting for Raid. White Republican suburban women are now going to vote Republican. Why? It's almost like roaches voting for Raid.
Yes, the View thinks of you as roaches.
And that's another thing that's always blurry, is you always have to watch how they're being labeled. If you don't have their views, they quickly turn on you so goddamn quickly. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So it's it's all of this. When you vote in your state, I mean, it's really simple. Just, in my opinion, vote red. Because we know what the Democrats think of you. Either you're
We all
with
don't
them,
want the government in our back pocket, but we want the government to be able to do what they're supposed to do.
right? And we need to send a message to all of these liberals that tried to control our lives for the last 2 years in every aspect, including when you could leave your house.
I left my house. I left my house whenever I felt like it.
Oh, they tried. I mean, I did too. Right to the point that they shut down wrestling. So I just threw a bunch of mats up in my garage and said, hey, come on over to my place and you can wrestle. You can practice. So, do you know a friend of mine, his gym, he refused to shut it down in Michigan during COVID.
Good for him.
He was fined $5,000 a day for almost a year straight. And then eventually they just said, you know what? Forget it. We're done. Dropped all of them. Dropped all the fines on him. They tried bullying him for a year straight. They sent the sheriff to shut him down, and the sheriff went there, and he said, "Are you going to shut this down?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Okay, I tried."
I mean, he had to say that he tried, right?
Right.
Speaking of weirdly trying, we have some new updates on Paul Pelosi.
Paul Pelosi.
God.
Peter Piper picked a peck.
Paul Pelosi. There we go. Fucking words aren't wanting to work with my mouth today.
I can't get the words out of my mouth hole.
Christ. So
today, Junior.
All right. So was it what we recorded? What, Sunday? So Sunday, that's when we found out about Mr. Pelosi's weird attack
by a guy in his underwear
while Paul was in his underwear. So that always just never fucking made sense. I think I sent you like 2 videos from like 2 different people talking about it. it kind of it makes you think of what happened, but in the grand scheme of things, is that let me pull the article back up. He was released. The question is ultimately his state of mind.
Yeah, while you're pulling that up, let me just play this from wait, I don't want that. That would look weird. Almost like had us inception ourselves with screen share.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right.
News pulls a report claiming Paul Pelosi did not indicate emergency to cops. The NBC report from Friday was taken down with the explanation that the piece should not have aired because it did not meet NBC news reporting standards. They did it because it contradicted the court documents that were filed where it said that Pelosi nervously but calmly greeted officers in a dimly lit foyer where both men stood. Oh, but that's not all it said. Roll the clip.
Were seemingly unaware they'd been called to the home of the Speaker of the House. After a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. The 82-year-old did not immediately declare an emergency or try to leave his home, but instead began walking several feet back into the foyer toward the assailant and away from police. It's unclear if the 82-year-old was already injured or what his mental state was, say sources. According to court documents, when the officer asked what was going on.
This morning, Paul Pelosi is home, back at the house that became a crime scene a week ago today. NBC News learning new details about the moments police arrived. Sources familiar with what unfolded in the Pelosi residence now revealing when officers responded to the high-priority call, they were seemingly unaware they'd been called to the home of the Speaker of the House. After a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. The 82-year-old did not immediately declare an emergency or try to leave his home, but instead began walking several feet back in the foyer toward the assailant and away from police. It's unclear if the 82-year-old was already injured or what his mental state was, say sources. According to court documents, when the officer asked what was going on, defendant smiled and said everything's good. But instantaneously, a struggle ensued as police clearly saw David DePape strike Paul Pelosi in the head with a hammer. After tackling the suspect, officers rushed to Mr. Pelosi, who...
This report goes on to say that police do not know why Paul Pelosi went back into the house and didn't try to exit and went back towards the intruder. They say he could have just been in fear and he froze after calling the police.
Yeah,
I love Sarah and I love that guy right there.
This is such a weird thing. What's really crazy about this guy is not a right winger. This guy is deranged. He's illegal alien, by the way. He's from Canada.
They're talking about having him deported.
Yep. He supposedly went there to break Nancy Pelosi's kneecaps to send a message to the Senate to do their bidding, or they'll get their kneecaps broken or something. I mean, the guy was just flat out nuts. So last week we said that the 911 call made it sound like Paul Pelosi knew him. As it is right now, more information comes out. The new information that comes out is that there's no evidence that Paul Pelosi knew the assailant.
Correct.
So, yeah, we'll retract that from the last episode. But still, now you have...
My thing is that house should be like fucking guarded. How did the guy get in?
So, supposedly, guards and security stick with Nancy Pelosi, not Paul. So, all the Secret Service agents and all that stick with her. So when she wasn't there, they weren't there. They make, what was it, $10 million last year?
Yep.
You're telling me they can't afford security?
Or cameras. Where the fuck is where's the body cam footage? Where's the inside of the house footage? Because you know damn well there's cameras inside.
I mean, we have a freaking Ring camera at our house, and we don't make millions of dollars. I have security cameras. You know, so yeah, don't give me that.
I mean, we're never gonna. I don't think this will ever fully come out of what actually happened. This will end up getting buried eventually.
They'll trickle out little bits at a time on like page 18 of, you know, whatever newspaper. But what drives me nuts is the politicizing of this by the left, talking about it was MAGA Republicans. It was the divisive rhetoric from the right that drove. Yeah, the divisive rhetoric from the right drove this insane guy that's a leftist in everything that he's shown to be a leftist, that is an illegal alien, that somehow, you know, that's what drove him. Give me a fucking break.
So, I mean, I'm going to say this now. We didn't condone any of that whatsoever. So it's not that we were hoping that No, I kind of wish Paul Pelosi speed recovery, because you have to be a special kind of person to be married to Nancy Pelosi, the crypt keeper from Tales of the Crypt.
You'd have to imagine the reason he got his DUI is because to be married to Nancy Pelosi, you have to be drunk 24/7.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's fucking drunk. He might as well be drunk too. The fact that he had kids with her and they had...
Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. That is not something I want to think about.
But, you know, that's a special kind of person. But wish you a safe recovery, sir. Hopefully we'll find out more later down the road of what actually fucking happened and why the fuck were you in your underwear? Because
it was 3 o'clock in the morning. If someone came into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd be in my underwear too.
Dude, if someone broke in my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, I am stripping naked and I'm running at them. I will have.
That would be the thing. So yeah, if they come into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, they would have either a naked or underwear, depending on the night, me with a pistol pointed in their face, going, "Get on the ground now." Right now, there's 2 guns aimed at you.
Oh God. Yeah.
This is my weapon.
I would make
This is
that
my
the
gun.
most awkward break-in ever. Yes.
And you know what? And with my grappling background, heaven forbid you try to attack me. I will fight you bare buck naked.
Baby oil. Put a whole bunch of fucking soak yourself in baby oil.
Yeah, I will. That's exactly it. You'll be there, and I will be dumping the baby oil on me, just lathering it around. All right, come at me, boy.
Oh, just shit. Oh my God. Oh my God.
You're having some images you did not want in your head, don't you?
No. Just, God damn it. Oh, well, that fucking woke me up for the rest of the night. Oh, I don't want to go to sleep because I'm afraid what I'm going to see. All right.
Ryan at 3 o'clock in the morning is going to wake up screaming. His wife's like, "Did you have a nightmare?" Yeah, Jason was naked with baby oil all over him, wrestling some guy that broke into his house. Fuck, the guy was me.
God damn it. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, moving on. Oh, shit.
I can't stop laughing.
Oh.
The next episode
for everyone that
we
listens
record,
on
I'm gonna have The next episode we record, I am putting a bottle of baby oil right in front of the camera.
Yeah, please don't do that. Because then I'm going to have to question of what you and your wife do in the bedroom. All right.
Or in the
so,
office.
all right. Speaking about being in the dark, Ukraine's now in the dark. We're sending them more money. If you didn't see, another $400 billion going to Ukraine. God, I can't wait till we take over and we can stop this spending. Maybe ask for some of the money back. I don't know. So SpaceX has been providing satellite technology for their internet and everything. From what I've read is that SpaceX and Congress have been both footing the bill for the Ukraine, but SpaceX didn't want to pay it anymore. We were going to talk about that a couple episodes ago, but we never got to it. So Congress has been paying about what? I think 70 or 80% of it, and Elon Musk has been footing the last 20. Plus, he paid for all the devices to be made and shipped.
Right. And he moved all his satellites from other parts of the world.
So they moved satellites
so that they had access no matter where they were at in Ukraine.
Correct. So Elon came out and said, "Hey, I'm not paying for this anymore. Either you and the U.S. government foot the entire bill, or shit's getting turned off." Well, looks like shit got turned off. Man, it has to be a terrible. It has to be a terrible bill to come in the mail. The final notice: "Hey, pay your bill, or your shit's getting turned off." We're at war. We have no money.
That's happened to me a few times when I was in college, and Carter sent us the bill and said, "Hey, you pay it by this date, or we're turning off your internet." And we went, "Oh yeah, to hell with you." Well, they turned off our internet.
Yeah.
Imagine that happening to an entire country at war. Here's my question though. We sent how many billions of dollars to Ukraine? And the U.S. government is already, like you said, footing 80% of it. Take the money that they were going to give Ukraine and put to that, because
the fucking bill.
Right. If they're going to do it, like, should we be sending money to Ukraine still?
No,
I don't think so.
Do
they have the right to defend themselves against Russia? Absolutely. But,
sure.
If we're going to help them, the problem with us just willy-nilly sending billions of dollars, we don't know where the hell that money's going to.
My thing is, it's also looking like we're at a back end of this war. And now with Iran entering, because they believe if they enter, they can provoke more of NATO into a war. It will spark a world war. Because Russia's already talking about starting a new collective called BRICS.
Yep.
That's Brazil, Russia, Iran, or India, China, and South Africa. I'm sorry if Brazil's a part of that. That's a lot. Not on top of China, because that's just going to go.
Well, we're already the ones that are colluding with that are basically the current axis of evil.
Oh, yeah. And then if Iran joins, because their ultimate goal is to literally bankrupt the dollar bill, and all, because they're trying to have a new currency backed by gold. They're trying to go back to what the United States should have gone back to when Nixon was in power, back to the gold standard.
Left the gold standard. Yeah.
We should have never left the gold standard.
As it is, when we're backing up the dollar based on fiat, it's worth nothing. That's why our inflation is so high, is because we flooded the market. Now, can you do that with gold? Absolutely. You can flood the market with gold and drop the price of the dollar, but at least you have something tangible to hold you back and say, hey, we can't flood the market with a bunch of dollar bills because we only have X amount of gold.
Correct. And so
speaking of gold, though, I'm going to have to talk to my brother. He just subscribed to a like an online like gold company that he orders gold coins and gold bullions from them every month. And we just ordered a bunch of silver from them. So at the rate that everything is going, personally, we need to diversify. We can't have everything in stock. We can't have everything in our retirement, and that with the way that the dollar bill is going, we need something else. And I don't trust this whole, buy gold and you get these certificates that you own X number of gold. No, I don't want certificates. I want gold in hand. And so my brother started doing that. And then since he's a member, I'm not signing up for it. You're
just going to pay him to buy it.
Yeah, I Venmo him money and he buys it. My parents did that. Yeah. And it's not bad, because a lot of times when you go to buy gold, they're like, okay, you can buy gold, but it's going to cost you, $5,000 for this brick of gold. This is like, you can buy the $5,000 brick of gold, or you can buy a $1,000, you can buy a $500 coin, you can buy, so whatever you can afford. And what we're doing is gold and silver. We're just getting like this is a quarter, but little quarter size things to have on hand. So when the shit really does hit the fan, at least we have something that we can take down and trade with, that we have value to, besides ours, which really doesn't have value if somebody wants to come and take it.
Yeah.
But no, with the whole Ukraine thing and with Elon Musk, I mean, SpaceX and what's the company, or what's the name of the Skylink, right?
Starlink.
Thank you.
Starlink.
Starlink is a huge step forward with internet connectivity, because you have to think about this. Do you know how we connect the world with the internet right now? Generally, it's not through satellites.
No.
It's through cables.
Yep.
We have big, giant cables running on the ocean floor between North America and Europe, and then it splits off into Asia and into Africa, and from Africa into Australia, from North America to South, like everything. You start cutting cables, you can cripple the whole world.
Oh yeah, I mean pipelines.
Yeah. With Starlink, because there's other satellite. Have you ever tried using satellite internet?
Fucking terrible.
Oh my God, I had to use it.
It's absolutely terrible.
Company I worked for sent me to a remote area to cover a story, and we had to use satellite internet because there was no internet out there for me to send stuff back. And we had to use satellite phones because we had no cell service. And it was so freaking slow. Like we're trying to send video.
It's like a day or two.
Oh, I would say it was just barely above. The download wasn't bad.
It's the uploading.
But the upload and the ping. I want to say my ping was like over a second. It was like 2 or 3 seconds for a ping. Everything was timing out on me, constantly timing out. I was hitting refresh on everything. Then I'm trying to upload stuff, FTP it.
But see,
and
I know where where SpaceX, when they were launching all their rockets, they're
low
in the
orbit.
lower orbit of the stratosphere, to where it actually doesn't, the signal doesn't travel as far as it would if it was an actual satellite in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
think of satellites, basically the satellite up in space is really nothing more than a mirror. That's really all it is. You beam something up to it and it beams it down somewhere else.
Yep.
But
he's got a shitload of them in the sky though. Right. It's not just like one or two. He's got hundreds.
Right. And so each satellite has a footprint. Well, traditionally satellites were a lot higher because then their footprint could be bigger. Mm-hmm. The problem is the higher you go and the bigger the footprint, the more power it takes to beam up there and the slower the relay is. By having it lower, it's got a much smaller footprint, which means that it takes less power. It's closer to what we call microwaves when it comes to radio waves. And they're damn near as fast as most cable or DSL. In some places, probably faster. I have a friend that, because for a long time in the U.S., and I'm sure you still have, you have to apply to get it, and you have to be chosen. Like they have to say, yeah, you don't have good internet out there, and you're chosen to get the internet. And so he's really remote, gets no regular internet. Got that. I think he pays only as much as I do a month, except he had to buy all the equipment himself. But we Skype. Well, we don't Skype anymore. It's using FaceTime and stuff. But we video chat. He plays online games with it. He Netflix. He does all of that. It's that fast. And that stable. So that was a great thing for Ukraine because, one, they could communicate with each other. They could communicate with the world. All of them videos that you saw of their president, that was all because of Skylink. Because what was the first thing Russia did? Destroyed their infrastructure and their internet. You know, taking out somebody's internet now is basically the equivalent of the Wild West when somebody would cut the telegraph.
Yep. You know, they got cut off, and now we cut them off.
Right.
In theory, yeah.
So
we put them online and then we cut them off again. That's fantastic.
Now the question is, though, is Elon Musk in the right or in the wrong? Well, he's spending billions of dollars of his own money or his company's money for that war, while the U.S. is giving billions of dollars of taxpayer money to Ukraine for that war that we don't know where that money's going to. Shouldn't Ukraine or the U.S. or NATO, anybody else that's helping to support them, also help foot the bill? This is a private company. This is not a government providing this. This is a private company. They have shareholders. They have investors. They have people that they're paying for the upkeep and the troubleshooting and all of that. So shouldn't they not have to pay for the service that they're providing somebody else? I like how I say all of this, and then Ryan's screen froze. Ryan's looking off in the distance, refusing to blink. Very, very intently looking in the distance. Ryan must be on one of the older satellites, one of the other satellites. And he's back.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of satellites, you would think I just got fucking delayed.
Elon
I don't
Musk
know.
heard us. Twitter heard us.
Yeah. I actually respect him with bringing back the fact checkers and everything. So, yeah, no.
No,
who knows?
what I respect more is him saying, you know what, you put something up, we're not taking it down. Better for people to see what you said and have a rebuttal to it than for us to take it all down like it never happened. That's what I think. And I agree with him. Twitter is a digital public forum. It is the modern town square. And the left can't stand it. And Shonda Rhimes, who I guess made Grey's Anatomy.
Sure.
Yeah. She left Twitter. Bum, bum, bum.
So many people have said they're leaving Twitter. It's what AOC claimed that Elon Musk was messing with her Twitter account, and he came out and said, I have other things I have to do. I left Twitter up with my intern. I was dealing with SpaceX and Tesla.
Yeah.
It was like,
and not only that, we don't care about you. You're nothing.
They're upset because they have to pay for their blue check mark now.
Oh, that was the other one. Oh, God. Let me see if I can
Stephen
find
King
that.
came out and said, if I have to pay for my blue check mark, I just might as well leave. You haven't written a new book in, I don't know what, 20 years? Fuck you, man. You're worth $500 million. Ooh, $8 a month is really going to hurt you? Fuck you.
Let me see if I can find a video because this is so great. We got Buggy Eyes AOC complaining.
Liberal lover and the conservative hater just tweeted about the new subscription plan about the blue checkmark on Twitter that Elon Musk is doing, saying that a billionaire is trying to trick people into saying that free speech is actually $8 a month. A tweet which then Elon Musk fired back saying, your feedback is appreciated. Now pay the $8. So let's just say sometimes things are not what they seem. And I want to know, are you going to pay $8 for that blue check mark? The liberal lover and the
here's the thing. We pay $8 a month for a lot of stuff. This podcast alone, we pay more than that just so we can talk to each other and record it. $8 a month.
If I use Twitter more, I probably would pay the $8 just for the blue check mark.
Right. And here's the thing. She can still use it without the blue check mark. She just wants that blue check mark for free. Which, okay. So AOC is claiming that she has to pay $96 a year for that blue check mark, to keep that blue check mark. And that's such that free speech isn't free. She still has free speech. She can do it without the blue check mark.
I guess with the blue check mark, you get like certain perks on Twitter, I guess. I don't fucking know. But I guess their vetting process was so fucking scrutinary. It was retarded. You know what's sad is that means the White House has to pay for their blue check mark. So does Joe Biden.
I literally wrote what perks for blue check marks on Twitter. Who needs a blue check mark when you can have New York Times help Twitter verification requirements. Requirements for verification, authenticate. To encourage and maintain trust between users of the platform, you will need to confirm your identity with Twitter in order to be verified. Depending on the category, you will be asked to choose one of the following three methods of verifying your identity: an official website, ID verification, i.e. your driver's license or passport, or an official email address. You have to be notable. Your account must represent or otherwise be associated with a prominently recognized individual or brand in line with the notability criteria described below. News coverage, Google Trends, Wikipedia, other industry specific references or follower or mention count. If your account is detected to be in the top 0.05% of followers or mention counts for your geographic location, it may count towards notability. And you must be active. Okay. So it does. So really, the blue check mark doesn't mean anything except to say, "Hey, I'm Jason, and this blue check mark proves that I'm Jason, and any other Jasons are not Jason."
Yeah,
that's all it is. And he has a problem paying $96 a year. Her campaign would pay for that anyway. She wouldn't even pay for it.
Right? Well, I mean, if she doesn't lose her seat.
Yeah. That'd be fun. Speaking of, have you looked at the governor's race in New York?
Oh, yeah. Fucking, what's her name?
Hegel or yeah.
She's getting her asshole punched in.
Yes. And she had that god awful bad debate.
Well, I think what lost it really for a lot of it's parents, because they asked her, would you mandate the COVID vaccine for minors to go back to school? And she's not at this time. Was it Zeldin or whatever? Set out. He goes, I wouldn't. See, she said not at this time. She didn't say never. Right. That means she will change her mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I love when they get called out like that. When they try playing the spin, Karine Jean-Pierre and all them try doing that. Well, not at this time. Well, we don't think that that's appropriate at this time. They try playing that spin of we're going to leave the door open for the future, and then they get called out on it. So, and you're talking about a person that she literally never won any office. She became the governor because everybody that's ahead of her in every position she's ever held has done something that she stepped in.
Yeah, she was not voted. She was given the spot of governor.
She was the lieutenant governor, which I couldn't even tell you who my lieutenant governor is, because nobody cares who the lieutenant governor is. So, that along with the fact that she doesn't even have a built-in voter base from the previous election. Like a lot of times people will vote for the incumbent because you voted for them before and you're going, well, I voted for them before, I got to vote for them again.
But no one voted for the incumbent. That's the thing. That's the only difference with New York.
Her, so she doesn't even have that going for her. I think it's going to be a hilarious upset in Oregon and in New York if a Republican takes some states.
That would be it. What's his name? What was it? What was his name?
What's his name?
The previous governor.
Yeah, his brother was on CNN. Ass grabbing.
He was planning to run again as an independent for New York for governor. I didn't see him on the fucking ballot, so.
What's 538 have? So 538, I told you the latest polls that were shown in Michigan. 538 for Michigan today has Whitmer up 5.3 points, 5.3%. They have Whitmer at 49.9 and Dixon at 44. Makes you wonder, though, about these polls. Like, where are they coming from? Like, the Mitchell Research and Communications poll, which I've never heard of, has, as of yesterday, Whitmer at 49% and Dixon at 47. And then Signal, SYGNAL, has Whitmer at 50 and Dixon at 46. So I wonder if they're undersampling.
They're probably undersampling.
Governors, so Nevada, Oregon, Wisconsin. Wisconsin, they have the Wisconsin governor Republican up by 1 point as of today. Oklahoma, Kansas. How the hell does Kansas have a Democrat, Kelly, up by 5 points?
Who fucking knows?
Georgia, the Georgia race has Kemp up.
Kemp's gonna kick Stacey Abrams in
Kemp
the
is
fucking
gonna
mouth.
walk away with that.
He's just gonna theoretically throat punch her and then take the governor and go on. Same thing with DeSantis versus Chris.
Nevada, they have 538 has Hochul up at 7.6 points at 51% and Zeldin at 43%. I think that's going to be a sleeper. I think Zeldin's going to pull that out.
Oh yeah, definitely. And all so.
Looking at some of the House. Oregon's representative is up 4 points. Michigan 10 is up 5 points. Rhode Island, the Republican is up 6 points.
Yes. You know, it's been weird. There's been a handful of Republicans that have had like shootings at their house or attacks at their house right before midterms. Like Rand Paul, I think, got his ribs cracked in.
Yep.
North Carolina, their governor and the Republican governor had his house shot at because the Democrat used his house in a campaign video. Almost shot his kids. But the Republicans are the ones that go for violence, right?
Right. So Fetterman, according to 538, has Fetterman at 46.8 and Oz at 46.4. So that's even. In fact, based on undersampling, I would say Oz is up. Based on the fact that they undersample Republicans. Insider Advantage, which is out of Philadelphia, actually has Oz up 2 points as of yesterday. Another one has Oz up 2 points November 1st through November 3rd. And Ryman Research Group, November 1st through November 2nd, has Oz up 3 points.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens Tuesday. So remember, everybody go vote.
This is just, this is flooring me. It's kind of fun reading these. And especially if you're talking about, they put Whitmer up, 5 points. And Oz is, at a dead even. I would say Oz is probably up 4 points, 3 or 4 points at least.
So Wednesday, our fearless leader decided to have a speech about the midterms. Did you notice something missing from Biden's podium when he was giving the speech?
Not that I paid attention because I listened to it, but I didn't really
Hang on.
like.
I have a picture of him in front of the podium. Give me a second. You
it's
take a
not
look
blood
at it.
red. It's
Nope.
not blood red.
Nope.
No.
Tell me what's missing.
Oh, the seal. Well, that's because it's on DeSantis's.
This was in New Mexico.
So, do you have the video of him talking about how the ultra magas are not going to accept the results of the election? Or basically he's saying, hey, we got some shenanigans going on, and if you question our shenanigans,
I think I do.
Yeah. The way he said it, it makes you go, wait, the way you're saying that, you're planning something. You're planning
I
some
think this
fuckery.
is it right here. If I don't freeze up again, let's see what happens. I think this is it.
Just a few days ago, a little before 2:30 a.m. in the morning, a man smashed the back windows and broke into the home of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the third highest ranking official in America. He carried in his backpack zip ties, duct tape, rope, and a hammer. As he told the police, he had come looking for Nancy Pelosi.
Hang on. That wasn't in any news agency or on the police report. How the fuck how could he claim that?
I don't know. I don't remember reading and all of that someplace. I do remember reading that he's told police he planned on breaking Pelosi's knees. Or like he was going to tell her, if you lie to me, I break your knees.
All right.
To take her hostage, to interrogate her, to threaten.
Did it freeze up? Did you freeze up? You froze. I think the government is trying to stop us from telling the truth. I think it is. Waiting for Ryan to come back. Waiting for Biden to finish.
Hunting for officials. And erected gallows to hang the former Vice President, Mike Pence.
Wait, pause it there.
They didn't erect gallows.
When did they erect a gallows on January 6th? Did I miss the gallows? Because you would think that would be everywhere if there was pictures of gallows. Gallows.
My
January
question:
6th.
Where the fuck did they? Where would they put them? Would they put them in the?
Oh, okay. So there's some pictures of a gallows. Probably about half a mile away from the Capitol.
Where were they going to drag Mike Pence a half a mile from the Capitol, put him in gallows?
It's basically people putting up a gallows and hanging dummies. That's what it is. So
whipped up into a frenzy by a president repeating over and over again the big lie that the election of 2020 had been stolen. It's a lie that fueled the dangerous rise in political violence and voter intimidation over the past 2 years. This intimidation, this violence against Democrats, Republicans, and nonpartisan officials just doing their job.
What intimidation against Democrats? Because the only intimidation I remember and I've seen is against Republicans for the last 2 years. There hasn't been intimidation.
There was that attempted kidnapping of your governor, Whitmer.
But that had nothing to do with election intimidation.
No.
I don't remember intimidation. I mean, I know it's been 2 years, the last 2 years, and a lot's happened. But I don't remember intimidation of Democrats. I remember a lot of intimidation against Republicans.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Are the consequence of lies told for power and profit, lies of conspiracy and malice, lies repeated over and over to generate a cycle of anger, hate, vitriol, and even violence. In this moment, we have to confront those lies with the truth. The very future of our nation depends on it. My fellow Americans, we're facing a defining moment, an inflection point. We must, with one overwhelming, unified voice, speak as a country and say there's no place for voter intimidation or political violence in America.
No, there was something else that I remember.
This is the one from Florida.
Let me see here. I think this is it. Um,
27 million people have already cast their ballot in the midterm elections. Millions more will cast their ballots in the final days leading up to November the 8th, And for the first time, this is the first time since the national election of 2020, once again, we're seeing record turnout all over the country. And that's good. We want Americans to vote. We want every American's voice to be heard. Now we have to move the process forward. We know that more and more ballots are cast in early voting or by mail in America. We know that many states don't start counting those ballots till after the polls close on November 8th. That means in some cases we won't know the winner of the election for a few days, until a few days after the election. As I speak here tonight, 27 million people.
That's yeah. You know, this whole thing, there's no reason they should wait until after the election to count ballots that have been sent in. Florida didn't, and you know what? In 2020, we knew the outcome of the Florida election by 9 o'clock. The only reason I can think that it would take days to count is if you're trying some fuckery. That's the only reason it should take that long. Is if you're trying to fuck with the election and you go, hey, you know what? We've got too many votes come in for the red. We need to, quote unquote, find these votes for the blue. Because I guarantee if they knew that blue was going to win right away, they wouldn't be waiting days. That's why, that was the reason people didn't trust the 2020 election. Is because they had Trump winning in many states, including my state, when you went to bed. And he was up by a huge margin. He was up by, 51 to 40%. And then you wake up in the morning And all of a sudden he's losing.
Yep, we're going to get a strike from YouTube, but whatever.
Yeah, I know.
They don't like us when we question the 2020 election. But, I mean, even though we're just going by comparison of what happened.
Right. So even if everything is on the up and up, though, it's how you do it that makes you believe, trust in the institution. If you do everything behind closed doors and then come out and say, okay, we tallied all the vote, or, we went behind these closed doors and we came out and this is the product. But no one can see how it's made or what it happened or even that, that's when people don't trust you. And there is no reason, none, after the 2020 election that they shouldn't be tallying up votes as they come in. Because they can tally up the day's votes from every precinct in a matter of hours. I've covered elections, a lot of elections, when I worked for the news. We were getting updates by the minute before we'd even, we'd put them out on the air like every half hour. But we were getting updates, point by point by point every minute. But if you go and say, okay, point by point by point, now we're going to stop giving out the tallies, and you come back in 5 hours and everything's changed, that's when you don't trust it. And for Biden to stand up there and say, this is how it's going to be and this is what's going to happen. No. That's fuckery right there.
There's fuckery afoot.
Yeah. It makes the conspiracy theorist in me already questioning what they have planned.
I mean, Hillary Clinton said we already had something planned to steal the election with. So, yeah.
Now, here's the other question. If a bunch of Republicans win, are they going to be is he going to be giving the same speech?
Nope. I believe he's already believed that they're claiming illegitimate. So.
Yeah, he's claiming if Tudor Dixon wins, she's an illegitimate governor.
Carrie Lake.
Yep.
So it's gonna be interesting. I think I know what we'll be live after the election should be counted. So
yeah.
We'll definitely have
hopefully by Friday next week they have it counted. If they don't have it counted by Friday next week,
we're making fun of people. We're making fun of people. I can tell you right now. And then we're gonna send Jason in his nakedness and baby oil over to the counting press.
Like that's gonna be. We're gonna do a live shoot with me, all baby oiled up.
Oh God.
The only thing better than that would be if somebody broke in and I threw on my wrestling singlet and baby oiled up. Could you imagine me coming out at you with a wrestling singlet?
In the
headgear with all baby oiled up, glistening from baby oil.
Mouthpiece in. Fucking all oh God. I was watching I was flipping through the television. What was it? They had the Dark Side of Wrestling on.
Oh yeah, I love that show. That's on BRICS.
Yeah. It was the series with Andre the Giant.
Okay, yep.
How he hated baby oil.
Yep.
Hated fighting people with baby oil. And then that was when, like, I think Hogan and Macho Man were always
baby oiled up. Yep.
No, well, Hogan, I guess, never, when he wrestled Andre, he never put the baby oil on because Andre, he didn't like it. He could never get his grip for how big his fucking hand was. And they were telling us, Hogan was telling a story of how Savage came into the locker room already baby oiled up. Fucking Andre looked at him and said, "No baby oil." And I was like, "Oh shit."
I could just see his voice coming out with that too. No baby oil.
And then I guess he would get to the ring, and Savage never washed off the baby oil, so he's glistening in baby oil, and you just see, I know wrestling is all staged, it's all choreographed. I believe it's entertaining. When I was a kid, it was very entertaining.
When I was a kid, I actually believed it. That was the thing.
They said he actually hit Savage open-handed so fucking hard you could see his hand imprinted on his chest because he wouldn't take off the gun. I was like, man, that's got to be fucking petty for just to wear big oil.
There's quite a few. I've talked to some pro wrestlers, and they said that, you know, even though it's fake and essentially a lot of what the fakeness is, it's not like the whole match is choreographed. They kind of improv and make up what they're going to do
as they go.
Yeah, and then there's a certain like signal that they do for when you're going to win. And so that signal could be like, 3 taps on the back, or it could be something. But there's been times where the match didn't end or didn't do what was choreographed because they got into an argument or a fight backstage, or they just didn't like each other. So someone would like, okay, rather than clothesline and the person's going to, and I'm going to gently, they're like, nope, I'm going to actually hit you right in the throat.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand that. I mean, you're going to take your bumps. You got to remember those mats that they're wrestling on is nothing but 2x4s.
Well,
and
no,
padding.
What it is they're 2x4s. Well, they're not 2x4s. They're
Whatever.
plywood. Yeah, they're plywood. And then they have a layer of rubber mat and then a layer of felt padding on top of that. And it's all stretched really tight.
I mean, it's still going to hurt if you fall on it.
Yeah, and the ring itself is actually on springs.
Yeah.
So one of the gyms I worked at had a pro wrestling ring there. And I should find pictures of my son playing on the pro wrestling ring. He it was it was fun. I mean, it was a blast watching him, jump around on that and everything. And but it's hard. Like even me, one of the pro wrestlers tried to show me like, okay, come on up to the first rung, and I had to do a what's it called, like a body drop, like where you jump off and you kind of like slam onto the person.
Sure.
And the first rung, I did that, from the corner. Then he took me up to the second one, and I did that. And then he goes, okay, do it from the top. And I got up to the top, and that thing is wobbling like crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. It was like freaky to no end. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty fun. Here it is. Here. Let me show this. So window. So there it is. There's my son standing on the wrestling ring right there. Let me
Old
cancel
fuses.
this. And yeah, now I'm looking at like pictures of, it was an old building, really old.
See that? All right, so let's get to some funny videos and close this thing out.
Yeah, so with the funny videos, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a couple, and then we're going to get some videos that my wife sent me. I don't know what they are. I haven't watched them yet, so this could be interesting. All right, so and I don't even know if they're necessarily funny, but
we're gonna find out.
Let's take a look at this.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I believe that bullying is an absolutely necessary part of a healthy social dynamic. Look, I know for a lot of people that probably sounds super crazy, but just do me a favor and hear me out for 2 minutes, and I might change your perspective a little bit. But before I go into this logic, I want you to understand that this only works with one very, very important requisite. Violence must be considered an acceptable form of problem resolution. To put this super simply, if people aren't getting punched in the fucking mouth for the shit that they say or being disrespectful, and there isn't any consequence for being a bully, then bullying isn't checked. But in a world where a young man is able to stand up to a bully, he's taught very important skills that he really doesn't learn elsewhere. Skills in leadership, skills in masculinity, skills in standing up for the small guy, skills in facing his inadequacies and insecurities, skills where he's taught to manage and deal with his emotions and act like a man. But most importantly, when a young man stands up, he's empowered. And on the other side of the coin, when a bully gets popped in the fucking mouth, he's taught that there are consequences for his behavior. And the likelihood that he will continue to be a bully is a lot lower. And the fact is bullies never go away. And part of the reason why we have such a big problem with people talking shit on the internet is because there's no consequence for it. And when you take violence away as a tool for problem resolution for young men, and you replace that with acceptance and tolerance taught by more feminine leadership roles within society, young men never learn the skills that they need to learn to manage and deal with their emotions. Emotions like anger, sadness, depression, rejection. And while this is happening, the bullies are getting worse because there's no consequence for their action. They become even more passive aggressive. And that's why we find ourselves in a world today where kids are committing suicide or find themselves being victim of cyberbullying, or even worse, we find situations where young men are shooting up schools because they don't know how to handle those emotions. They aren't empowered as young men. When I was bullied as a young boy, it forced me to face the hard truths about myself that I didn't want to face. It forced me to step into a place where I had to get better, improve, and be accountable to my shortcomings and step up and be a better man. I don't care what society tells you. Men should not be accepted as they are. Who you are today should not be good enough. You should be happy with who you are, but never satisfied. And your goal should be to always try to level up and get better. Bullies create that accountability because they force you to face the hard truths about yourself.
I completely agree. I'd like to tell this story. I got into martial arts, which led into wrestling, which has become a big part of my life because I was bullied when I was in 4th grade. And I was bullied by not just one of the 5th graders ahead of me, but multiple that were kind of like gang up on me. And my parents sent me to martial arts, and I eventually had to stand up to them and pop them. And after that, I knew I could handle myself. And on top of that, I knew that not everybody could, and I could be the one to stand up for them. That's how I teach my son. My son, actually, it's really funny. He kicked me in the head this week.
You know, we forgot to talk about something.
What?
The Pepsi story.
Oh yeah,
I completely forgot about that. I'm sorry.
Well,
everybody.
let me finish this. We'll talk
Yeah.
about the Pepsi, and then we'll go to stuff my wife sent me. So anyway, my son kicked me in the head this week. He was very proud of himself. He did a great fake. He did a great fake. I went down and he popped me in the head. But because I work at his school, I get to hear a lot from the other teachers and stuff like that, that he is one of the more compassionate kids to help other kids. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he is not afraid of anybody. He's not afraid of what other people are going to think about him. He's not afraid of somebody bullying him, because I flat out told him, listen, when it comes to a bully, you have the 3 T's. You talk and you try to tell him to back off. You tell the teacher, and if he still keeps coming, you have my permission to tackle him and take his back. Kick him in the head. I'll deal with the consequences with his parents. But you have that, and he knows that he can handle himself if he needs to, which makes him more compassionate. And yes, how many videos now have I shown of different Karens? Not just women Karens. What's the male version? A Ken? A Kevin?
Kyle.
A Kyle. A Karen and a Kyle. And the reason we have all of that is because nobody is punching them in the fucking mouth when they shoot their mouths off. Because it's such a litigious society now that they're literally asking for you to punch them so that they can put you on blast on the internet and they can sue you. Because there's no recourse for them. When we were younger, we shot our mouths off like that, you were getting punched. If my best friend said something, I may not punch him in the mouth and knock him out, but I'm going to punch him and push him down. We did that. If I said something, my best friend would push me down, and, you know, they don't have that anymore. And so what we have is we have a bunch of Karens and Kens running around during COVID, picking on a little 10-year-old that reaches for a candy bar in a convenience store because he thinks he's superior because nobody's punched him enough.
Exactly.
So, all right. Let me pull this up real quick so we can play it, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, let's see here. I need to switch this to this one.
Releasing a documentary about the court case where a man tried to redeem a fighter jet with Pepsi points.
Because Americans will sue about anything.
Back in the 90s, Pepsi ran a TV commercial advertising a point redemption program.
You could redeem Pepsi points for things like t-shirts and sunglasses. But at the end of the commercial, a fighter jet suddenly lands in front of a school and a kid emerges from the cockpit. Beneath him reads, "Hair fighter jet, 7 million Pepsi points."
Well, you guessed it. Some guy actually accumulated 7 million Pepsi points and tried to get Pepsi to hand over the jet.
They said no.
So he sued. The case actually asked a foundational question. Are advertisements legally binding offers?
The court said no. Generally, legally, ads are just invitations to do business, and sellers are under no contractual obligation to honor their advertisement.
Especially the intent of an ad is to function as a joke.
So the man did not get his fighter jet. Hey, isn't this case literally the first subject of your book about weird aspects of the law that has amazing reviews?
It is. Are we suing Netflix for copyright infringement? 1 million likes and we'll do it.
That's not how that worked.
It should be.
Okay. Okay, so Netflix is doing a documentary on this court case
called Pepsi, Where's My Jet?
Yep. So this happened in 1996.
I know. Good Lord.
So
John Leonard and Todd Hoffman in Pepsi. Where's My Jet? So these two, back in the day, Pepsi had a program called Pepsi Points, where if you so many sodas give you a point under the cap or on the thing. My parents used to buy the cubes to get the most bang for their buck. I think they got a luggage set out of that. Fucking weird. But the thing is like, yeah, I remember the commercial. The commercial had a jet in it. And it never said.
When you brought this up and you showed me like the picture, I'm like, holy shit, I remember that now.
And
it seems strange. I'm not a lawyer, but to me it seems strange that the court would say that they're not contractually obligated, because I mean, you'd think that would fall under false advertisement.
Well, let's see.
I guess this is why I'm not a lawyer. Because if I was in that jury, I would have.
Now, the more Pepsi you drink, the more great stuff you're going to get.
Play that again?
No fine print came up. I don't care what anybody else says. That is a legit offer.
In the 90s, Pepsi was famous for the advertising.
It was a cool club to be in.
Different world then, different John. This commercial comes on. Harrier Jet, 7 million Pepsi coins. I really saw this as an opportunity to change my world. I'm like, I want the jet. My mind couldn't stop racing to try.
My thing is, who wouldn't want the fucking jet if you
Hell
get
yeah
7 million points? And it's not just any jet. It's a Harrier jet. It's a jet that can vertical take off.
Yeah. It's a fighter jet.
Try to figure out how to make this happen.
We just couldn't drink that much Pepsi.
I need to buy 1.4 million 12 packs. I knew there was one person that I could potentially get to bite on this.
And then he pitched this idea. It's crazy. It's insane.
6 warehouses, somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 people. It would cost $4.3 million. But I'm reading the fine print.
We found a loophole. Here we go.
Bring on Pepsi.
Hey, somebody sent us a check for $700,000 for the Harrier jet.
What?
7 million points, Harrier jet. You saw it.
It's clearly a joke.
This was a money grab opportunity. Then they changed the ad.
We're just kidding here.
A big corporation knows how to game the system. I'd use different language if I weren't on camera.
You're on Netflix, so you can use whatever language you want.
Fuck them.
Pepsi went on the offense.
It was in no way an admission that we had done anything wrong. It was an admission of guilt.
That was above my pay grade.
Legal will kill anything. It was something right out of the Tom Clancy story.
I'm not going to prison over a damn jet.
We need to shake things up a little bit.
Plot twist, Michael Avenatti. You can read all about him. Just Google his name.
I forgot he was.
Wait, pause that real quick.
I forgot he was the lawyer.
Avenatti?
Yes, he was. That's how he got his start.
The lawyer for Stormy Daniels against Trump. The disgraced lawyer. I think he also was a lawyer for Blasey Ford also, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow.
I forgot that he was their lawyer for that whole thing.
Well, that's why they lost.
They never figured that there ever would be a John Lennon.
What I have to lose.
You wanted that jet.
I want the jet.
Johnny wants the jet.
Johnny wants the jet.
Fucking Avenatti. Okay, so I was all for him getting the jet until they said it was Michael Avenatti. And then I'm like, oh, that's why they lost.
Well, I think back then he was a little bit more better than he is now. My thing is, yes, the fact that they're actually taking the time to do a documentary on it, it's a very interesting tale of it. Because why not? Why wouldn't you want the fucking jet? They put a jet up there for 7 million points, not really expecting anyone to actually get 7 million points.
Right.
I
that
wanted
was their
7.
thing. They didn't. It wasn't that it was false advertising. They just put it so high up that they didn't think anyone would reach it.
Yeah. Like you said, it was almost $1.4 million to spend on it. The loophole was they bought all the recycled cans because they were 10 cents a can. That's how they got around it to get the points. So I don't think Pepsi was I think Pepsi was more upset that they found the loophole.
Right.
So they fought tooth and nail. They won. They eventually won the fact that they didn't have to give the kid his jet. But why would you advertise something if you weren't damned to honor that?
Well, why
That's
would you
my
have
thing.
to change it? They changed it. Why would you have to change it and put just kidding if you weren't serious to begin with?
Because again, they did not expect
the
dude to actually get the points.
Right. I'm going to watch this documentary. We should watch it together and do like a live podcast on it.
It's the 17th. It comes out the 17th, which is a Thursday. Fuck, we could do it on the 18th.
We can't do it on the 18th. I'll be hunting that weekend.
Oh, fuck you and hunting. No one cares. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
That's my meat. That's my meat. Okay.
You going out in baby oil too? Are you gonna wrestle the deer?
Isn't that
in
how
baby
you
oil?
hunt?
It's
Go
not
out
how
naked
I
in the
don't
woods with
hunt,
baby oil?
unfortunately. No, I don't hunt, unfortunately.
I'm going old school on this. No rifle, no deer blind. I'm just going out in the woods naked with baby oil.
Unfortunately, because me having a medical card, I'm not allowed to own a gun. So I bow hunt. And right now my shoulder's out of whack even more, so I have to get a crossbow. So I'm waiting to get my crossbow. And then I have to figure out where I can go.
Wow.
I'm gonna talk to my neighbor about using his mountainside.
I'll tell you, I don't bow hunt, but I crossbow hunt. And all you guys out there that say crossbow hunters are pussies, you know what? Fuck you. Okay?
Sorry, right now, it's a lot harder to crossbow hunt than a fucking shooting a gun. I'm sorry.
It is, but here's the other thing, too. It's harder to bow hunt. I don't have the time to be spending out back practicing shooting a bow and arrow. I do have time to sight in my crossbow every year for a day and then go out and hunt with it. So
you got to do a lot of you got to do more tracking with bow hunting because you may get him, but it may not kill him right away. So that's always the fun part.
Right.
What are the last few videos that Kelly sent you?
Yeah, let's look. Mind you, I have not seen these, so I don't know.
Boy.
It looks like Jamie Lee Curtis is the first one.
Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes these kind of things just never end. But I say with conviction that I think this time it truly is ending, and it's her legacy, and it's now part of ours. And it's sad to say that our inspiration and our drive is ending today.
And I'll miss you. And I thank you so much for your support. You've been incredible for people.
So that must be the wrap for Halloween Ends.
That's what it looks like.
By the way, Halloween is the 1978 Halloween is the movie that basically got me to college. Where I studied horror films. I love Halloween. I love all the Halloweens. I haven't seen Halloween Ends yet, but I do have Paramount, so I can watch it streaming at home. So I plan on watching it.
4 college wrestling teammates out in Montana. They went out shed hunting in the mountains in Montana, and they broke up into 2 groups. A bear came through the woods at them, mauled the one dude, and the other guy went in and grabbed the bear.
Yeah, dude, he jumped on its back,
Yeah.
and I guess he started pulling on his ears and just beating the out of it.
And the bear turned on him, drug him across the ground, mauled him. This dude was close to death. They fought a bear, dude. These guys are legends.
Dude, how did
They're gonna write a movie. You should see this kid. Like,
I thought he looked pretty
Be the
normal.
story of those kids for the rest of their life. I beat the shit out of a bear, man.
Exactly.
Montana. They went
Hey,
out.
I'm telling you, nothing is as scary as a college wrestler coming after you, even if you're a bear. College wrestler will do whatever he can to fuck you up.
Was he in baby oil?
You know, if he had baby oil, he would have been in better shape. If he was naked and had baby oil, that was the only thing. That was their problem. That's why he got messed up what he did. He wasn't wearing a singlet. He wasn't naked with baby oil. He didn't have his headgear on.
God damn it. Tyler,
When my daughter says they're having a party at school and parents can come.
I saw this
so
one.
want this costume.
When my daughter says they're having
That is the coolest costume ever. It is
Great
like
costume.
a fully working Raphael costume from the original Ninja Turtles. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I want one. Where do I get one?
I think in the comments it actually says where they get it.
Where do you get this costume? Prop shop, garage. Did he work on?
No,
the
he
original
no,
Ninja
he
Turtles?
actually does it down. I've seen this one. It's a little down a ways, but no, he does. He does say he got it from a. He names the shop he orders it. He ordered it from.
That is the most legit Ninja Turtle costume I have ever seen. Us 80s and 90s babies are going to be the best parents ever. We are. I told you I got my son hooked on Boy Meets World, didn't I?
No.
Yeah, my son is completely hooked on Boy Meets World.
Nice.
So I'm thinking the next I'm going to introduce him to what's another good ABC show from the 90s? Step by Step.
Step by Step. Yeah. We got Full House.
I don't want to go Full House. That's too campy. I think Step by Step would be a good one.
Family Matters. Family Matters was always good.
Okay, yeah, Family Matters is a good one. All right. That is a great Halloween. So for those that are not watching, it's in front of somebody's house and he's got these props of 2 giant hands and he's like, one's holding him up, the other one's holding a fake like bottom torso part, and it pulls away and then he drops like fake guts with lights on it.
Fantastic. That was good.
Yes.
All right, let's wrap this show up.
Guys, my Costco still has this
wait,
freezer.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna pop the drawers.
7 drawers.
They're so nice, and they come
I
out
want
if you
this.
want them to.
Oh, I want this venison.
Look, you guys, my Costco
That
still
would
has this freezer.
be great freezer. And it's only like $500.
Yeah.
11 cubic square feet. 11 cubic feet. 11 cubic square feet. 11 cubic feet.
11 cubic. 11 cubic.
Bitch, I'm stylish. Black talk, big t-shirt, Billy Eilish. Watch on my wrist, but I want that diamond.
Basically all the horror icons. So we got Michael Myers.
Bitch, I'm stylish. Black talk, big t-shirt, Billy Eilish. Watch on my wrist, but
We
I
got Jason Voorhees, Freddy, Pennywise. Oh, and we have Ghostface up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did you see they're doing a prequel to it? of how the guy turned into the clown?
Pennywise?
Yeah.
I'd have to see, because the whole point of Pennywise is that he turns into whatever fear the people have.
Nope. They're doing a
It's a
prequel
monster
of
that
the
feeds off
gentleman.
of the fears.
Yeah, but this is how he turns. But how he turns into.
But it's not
what
a
he
he.
is.
It's a demon.
Nope. In this, they show him as a person.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to watch that then. You can't rewrite. Oh, I hate when they rewrite backstories.
I don't know.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap it up and see if our buttons work. So let's try the contact button.
This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out on firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting streaming platform.
I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. We 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 can only count to 4. Numbers. Lots of numbers.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. I think we're getting kicked off YouTube officially after this episode.
That's why we have Rumble.